Okay, guys, welcome to Ask An Innovator. Today I'm rarely caught for words. I'm rarely short on words, as most of you know. Today I'm a little caught up in myself. I have an amazing guest. Ask An Innovator has pinnacled. Ask An Innovator just got its pro card in the world of guests. Liza McLean is a professional bodybuilder. This is a really big deal. A professional bodybuilder in Thunder Bay. Everyone else are amateurs. We got the pro. We got the real deal. I got a couple words to describe Liza here. I usually go with P words, but today I'm going with T words. I came up with tenacity, tenacious, treacherous, and we'll get into the treachery of becoming a bodybuilder. Time, trust, and the last word is transformation. We love to transform. You have transformed. You've transformed my life with, like, literally. I mean, you know how excited I've been over the last kind of 12 hours talking to you. Getting your pro card in bodybuilding.
Yeah, you know what? It's going from an amateur to the pro stage now. Competing on the amateur circuit for about 4 years.
Yeah.
So diving in the first time, and as soon as I stepped on that stage, I knew.
You knew.
I knew that I was hooked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that I would go all the way if I could.
Yeah.
And if all the variables were right, I could kind of, like you said, transform myself into a bodybuilder that's worthy of the pro stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are the only professional bodybuilder in Thunder Bay.
Currently, yeah.
One of the first questions that we love to ask all our guests is Thunder Bay, glass half empty, glass half full. I wish someone would ask me the question, because I could go glass half empty. Sometimes I think Thunder Bay can be a bit negative sometimes, but whatever. I would say glass half full. We have a professional bodybuilder. This is a growing space. It's on trend.
Big time.
I mean, people are doing it. It's upwardly mobile. Glass half empty, glass half full. How are we doing in Thunder Bay? I know how I feel because of you, but what do you think? How are we doing in Thunder Bay?
I definitely feel glass half full.
Yeah.
I lived away for a summer when I was younger, in my 20s. And it was that typical 20-year-old, I got to get out of Thunder Bay. Nothing good's going to happen here for me. And when I went away, the first thing I did was actually walk into a gym and sign up at a gym down there.
Yeah.
And the gentleman said, and I told him that I wanted to be on stage. And he said, you know, it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
But even when I came back, it was like everywhere is sort of the same. Every city, I think, has their issues.
Yeah.
But I think in Thunder Bay, we are so lucky with the environment around us.
Yeah.
You drive 20 minutes, you're in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
I love that space at camp or cottage, whatever, you know, our Southern Ontario friends say about it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I do love that aspect of it. I love that I can raise my son in a smaller style community with smaller style schools, and that we can drive 20, 30 minutes and we're in the middle of nowhere enjoying the outdoors.
I love it.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Let's get into bodybuilding. Let's get into your accomplishment. Pretty cool. Happened a week and a half ago.
Yes,
or so,
June 1st.
June 1st. Big deal. You have a son. You have a 10-year-old son, Lucas. Is Lucas proud of you?
Oh my God. He was so excited when I told him. And I told him, actually, I reaffirmed with him last night what his belief in me meant to me.
Yeah.
And there was a couple nights, you know, getting ready for bed, and he kind of looked at me, and I had pulled out of a show previously this year, and he said, Mom, but you really need to get your pro card.
Right.
Like, he understands what goes into it. He understands really the goal that I was shooting for.
Yeah.
And when you have that support, especially from somebody who's only 10 years old, you know, it's pretty profound. So
On the surface, you look fantastic.
Thank you.
Obviously. I mean, you put work in to look a certain way.
Yes.
The sport is kind of judged on, the sport is kind of, tell me if I'm wrong, the sport is, it's about performance leading up to the day, and then it's almost like it's about being criticized for the package that you bring to the stage.
Yeah, so it definitely is a judge's subjective sport. So the wind could blow another way, and it could be another competitor that day. If you've left it to the point where you're not completely undeniable as the winner, it's what the judges like. And as a female on stage, they do take into consideration things like skin condition, our hairstyle, the suit we have on. They take into consideration femininity in general, shape, structure, symmetry. So front to back, top to bottom symmetry as far as muscularity goes. They don't want a female to be overly muscular. They don't want us to be too lean, where we can see each individual muscle group, where there's this grainy look about it, like male bodybuilders. So there's a fine balance between the conditioning, we call it the leanness that you bring to the stage, and hitting all those other variables. And then you're judged on it. So leading up to the show, yeah, you're hoping that you're the best on that day, but you don't know who's going to show up and who you're going to be judged against. Because it could be your very best package that you've ever brought, but the next girl beside you could just be that much better.
Right.
And that's bodybuilding in general.
It's amazing.
It is. You're criticized, and you have to learn to shut off the personal piece of that.
Okay. So how do you do that?
Ooh. I think your first couple of shows, like my first show in Thunder Bay was 2016, and I got second, and I took it personally.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where I think being on social media, watching YouTube videos of professional bodybuilders speak to those things, that it's not personal, that you just need to show up with your best package, because you can't control who's showing up. You can't control who you're standing beside. So once you learn that about being on stage, that the only thing you can control, and don't get me wrong, am I like every other girl that's looking to see who else is going to show up at the show and keeping a track on them on Instagram? Absolutely I am. But I can't control what they're doing. I can't control the amount of cardio they're doing, the diet they're doing. I can only worry about those variables for myself.
So this is the personal development space, and on this show, we love to encourage people. The serenity prayer, or the serenity, it kind of goes like this. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. This is very interesting. You're speaking to that right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that little prayer, if you will, or that little saying, whatever you want to call it, that little affirmation, it can apply to any kind of quadrant or life or space or challenge or success. And you're speaking to that now. And you can control yourself in bodybuilding.
Yeah, and you speak to, you say the word courage, and some days when you're having a low day, when you're dieting down and you're tired, it's having the courage to say, I'm still gonna show up on show day. I'm still going to present myself, even if I don't feel ready. Because there's days where you feel like you're not gonna be ready. So it's having the courage to get on the treadmill in the morning and do the necessary things, even if the belief isn't there 100%.
This is a metaphor for life.
It is, absolutely. And that's where I think bodybuilding sometimes gets a bad rap. It is very selfish. People think we do it just for the looks, but for myself, it's the challenge that's accompanying that, right? It's, can I push a little harder? Can I be a little better than I was yesterday or last week? Really, in those tough moments where I don't want to be disciplined, can I find another level of discipline?
Dive into that. Dive into how the challenges that you've had building your body, presenting that package on stage, has served you in day-to-day life as a mom, as a wife, as an employee. As
an employee, and I think I think it crosses over to a lot of aspects of life where you have to be a problem solver in bodybuilding as well. Like when something comes up and, okay, I stuck at work 2 hours extra. Okay, how am I gonna plan the rest of my day accordingly? I'm going to stay at work. I'm going to do the tasks that are asked of me because I have to get paid. Then I need to perhaps get to Luke's baseball or football or something, and then I need to fit a workout in. So now I'm learning to reschedule my day accordingly to make everything fit under pressure and not getting panicked about it, right? And I think the time management skills that come along with being a bodybuilder. Because we get up quite early to fit in our cardio. Then we have to be on the clock for all of our meals accordingly, 9 a.m., 12 p.m., 3 p.m. You eat on the clock all the time. So
this is amazing stuff. We're going to come back. Lisa, I can't believe we just blew a full segment right there. I can't, that was the fastest segment ever. We're going to come right back. We're going to talk about diet. We're going to talk about social media. We're going to talk about vulnerability, the business of bodybuilding, and she's going to inspire you. Liza McLean, professional bodybuilder. Welcome back to AAI, Ask An Innovator. I am super fired up. So we're gonna get into some tangibles. Professional bodybuilder, Liza McLean from Thunder Bay. Thunder Bay's only professional bodybuilder. We may have had 2 professional bodybuilders ever from Thunder Bay.
Yes.
You being one.
Yes.
We're gonna get into some tangibles right now. This is, I can't believe how excited. I'm super excited. I'm always pretty excited. But this is a really big deal. So tangibles.
Yes.
A day in the life.
For sure.
3 months leading up to the show.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. So
morning till night.
Yeah. 12 weeks out. Typically at that point, I'm probably doing around 40 minutes of cardio in the morning. So I'm getting up, at probably about 5:45, hopping on the treadmill. I have a treadmill at home to make that easier, so I don't have to go to the gym. My husband does work on the road, so it makes it a little bit easier for me to have to do my cardio and get my son to school in the morning as well. So I hop off the treadmill, get him ready, prepare my breakfast, which at that point is typically maybe 3/4 cups of egg whites, some ground turkey in my omelet, some spinach. And at that point, I'm probably still having oatmeal in the morning, maybe a half a cup, maybe some blueberries in it, some cinnamon.
Yeah.
So that's meal one.
Okay.
I pack myself up, I get him to school, get myself to work, start work, do what I do there. And then by the time 11:30 rolls around, it's time for meal two. So meal two for me is about 4 ounces of chicken. We have some green beans in there, occasionally some rice, depending on where we're at in the prep. So then pack that away, continue to work. 3 hours later, I get another meal. Timer goes off, meal three. And so meal three at that point is usually some white fish,
Right.
5 or 6 ounces, depending. Sometimes, again, it could be sweet potatoes. It could be just greens on their own. Some salad, some romaine, that kind of thing to fill the volume of the plate so you don't feel so empty. And then meal four is usually my pre-workout meal. So that one typically has some rice in it, a little bit of carbohydrates to get me through the workout. I leave work. I make sure that I head to the gym immediately so that after my workout, I can be home with my son.
Yeah.
So workout consists at that point of 45 minutes to an hour of weights, weight training, and then post weight training, I have some cardio again, usually as well.
Yeah.
Half an hour, 45 minutes, hour, sort of depending on where I'm at.
Yeah.
We like to vary mine. Sometimes it's spinning on the bike, sometimes it's the stair climber, sometimes it's walking at an incline. So getting the heart rate, kind of keeping it there steady state.
Right.
Get home, spend some time with my son, do some homework, or maybe check out his baseball game, whatever he's got going on.
Be a mom.
Be a mom.
Right.
And then we kind of get ready for the next day, right? So I pack my gym clothes. I make sure that all my meals are ready to go for the next day. I typically do my meal prep one day on the weekend. So I do all my shopping, then I take the time, 2 or 3 hours, and I cook everything all at once. So I get my rice on the stove, I get my chicken in my Instapot, I get my fish in the oven, I get my turkey on the stovetop too, and I kind of do everything all at once.
Yeah.
And for me, that means just weighing and measuring everything, packaging it, stacking up all my containers, and then putting them in the freezer so that throughout the week, all I have to do in the morning is pull it out.
Bam.
Done.
I hear one word. When I'm hearing you say this, I hear you saying one thing: discipline.
Yeah.
Is this discipline? Did
I would
you just
say, yeah.
define discipline?
And it just means every day is sort of Groundhog Day. Like and I like it that way. Yeah. When things get a little hairy, and when I know that Lucas has all kinds of activities in the evening, it tweaks those evening routines, which sometimes can throw it out of sorts a little. But I thrive in that consistency of the day, where it's the same. And my body likes that as well. When I'm prepping, the more consistent I am, the results seem to happen that much better for leading up to show day, because it's just consistent. The body likes that.
The body likes it.
So then when we tweak anything, if diet changes, if we feel like I still have a little more to push, my coach will make some adjustments in the diet, and then your body responds, right? It feels those adjustments, and weight starts to come off, a little more fat starts to come off and peel off. And then if we increase cardio, it's the same thing. Because I've been so consistent, then we increase cardio, the body feels that, and the body changes accordingly, right?
One of my favorite authors is John Maxwell. He describes discipline as a daily, continuous, uphill slog. He really discourages living life downhill until maybe you get to a certain point in retirement or later in life where you can enjoy the fruits of your labor. But uphill slog is his definition of, we're made to go uphill. Life should not be easy.
And it's even harder when you get to the top of it. You're really feeling it. You're feeling the fatigue. And that's where those last final weeks leading up to a show, I can relate to that. You're at the top of the mountain. You're exhausted. Your mind and body are tapped out. And that's where discipline just kicks in.
Yeah.
It just does. If you're not disciplined, if you don't have self-control and you don't have control over your emotions and your mind at that point, forget it.
Forget it.
You're going off track. Or you're taking a pit stop before you reach the top of that hill, right? And in bodybuilding, you just don't know then, is it going to be good enough when you reach the summit, which is the show.
That's the show.
Right?
Right. And then that's your pro card.
And that's the pro card. That's putting the work in consistently over the last 4 years.
That's amazing. One thing that really stood out to me when you were describing kind of a day in the life of a professional bodybuilder, and that must sound pretty cool, right? That's pretty real.
It does.
A day in the life of a professional bodybuilder, what really stood out to me as you kind of broke down those details, 45 minutes to an hour of weights. That's it.
That's it. And the weights is honestly the easy part.
Yeah.
You know, like if somebody said you need to work out as hard as you can for the rest of your life, awesome.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
But it's the diet.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, it is. Lifting weights is like my jam. Like I love that.
Yeah.
You know, I pick things up and put them down,
Yeah.
right? Like it's great. But it's the diet. It's
I hear this.
Yeah, it's when you're so depleted and you're feeling that strain, that's when weight training becomes hard, right? Because your intensity still needs to remain, because you want your body to still burn calories. And when you're not training as intensely as you were, the body's not going to be doing those same things. So the output still needs to be the same, but the calories are so much less that you're intaking.
Yeah.
So you got to find that next mental notch to keep pushing.
So that's that mental notch. Let's dive into that. So if you had two situations, one where you're on a heavy squat day, last rep, and you're looking at that bar and those plates and you're going, ugh, or fighting the cravings for carbs or sugar, which is more challenging?
The food, for sure.
Like, this is what I hear.
I'm honestly, at that point, there are some days where you're counting down the minutes until your next meal. You put your container away, and 5 minutes later, you're hungry again.
Yeah.
You're hungry. And you're not just craving. It's not just the cravings. You're actually hungry.
Yeah.
Like in an hour, hour and a half, my body has utilized that food. And it's like, more, please.
Yeah.
You know? And you really honestly feel it. And that's just, okay, you know, drink some more water, maybe toss a piece of gum in my mouth, and carry on until mealtime.
How important is diet to bodybuilding?
You know, some people say, you know, it's like 80, I'd say it's 90%.
Right.
Honestly, if the variables aren't right, you're not going to maintain the muscle you need to. You're not going to lose the fat you need to. You're not going to bring your best, fullest package on stage. Because if you're too dieted down, you're going to tell, you're going to see it on stage.
So you don't necessarily have to diet or eat like a bodybuilder, but just diet in general for that would-be person who wants to change their physique. And we're going to get into the last segment. We're going to come right back. The last segment, we're going to get into diet a little bit more, and then Lisa is going to give she's going to give some truth to my all-time favorite question, which we're going to get into when we come back. Ask an Innovator. We have a professional bodybuilder here on the set. Pretty amazing stuff. Discipline, and we're going to get into some truth and some vulnerability. Stay with us, so we'll be back with Pro Card, Liza McLean. Okay, here we go. Last segment, Ask an Innovator, professional bodybuilder, Liza McLean, diet. Diet is powerful. We're gonna get into diet, but first I have one question for you. If you were to go to the gym and you had only one exercise to do, or an exercise that you would recommend for everyone to do, whether it's a squat or a deadlift or some version of a pull down or pull up, or one exercise only, your favorite or the best, what would it be?
Honestly, I fell in love with deadlifting a long time ago.
Okay.
And I attribute my physique to a lot of that and a lot of heavy deadlifting.
Right.
So as a female, male, if you want to get into lifting and you want to build your physique around a certain exercise, because you can do so many variations. You can do it as a deficit, stand on a plate.
Right.
You can do it from a rack where it's at a knee and an up pull. Then you can do it from the floor.
Right.
You can vary your grip, which will help back development. So you can go extra wide. You can go narrow. And if you ever want to go into Olympic lifting or powerlifting, the start of all those exercises is a strong deadlift. Honestly, that's how I learned and fell in love with heavy lifting, was
Yeah.
deadlifting. And as a female, when you start to learn that how strong you are, and deadlift is a really good example of that because it's just a raw lift.
Yeah.
It's empowering.
It's empowering.
It's empowering.
I love the metaphor of
Yeah.
picking something up heavy
Yeah.
and
Because
bearing that weight.
It really does ingrain it in your mind how strong you can be
Yeah.
and the potential and possibilities.
Yeah. Okay, you just got me sidetracked. We were going to talk about diet. Let's
Yes.
talk about
Sure.
female.
Okay.
Being a female in this world.
Yeah.
Is this a female's world? Is this a man's world?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I'm all for girl power.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely a feminist at heart. And what I hope though is that equality piece.
Yeah.
Not that one gender or the other gender is better than the other. Obviously, diet, males are going to be able to eat a little bit more. Their calorie expenditure is going to be a little because of hormones.
Yeah.
We're different hormonally. So for females, where you have to intake a little bit less food. And I know there's so many body image issues out there.
Sure.
And I think where we go with that is if you really think you need a diet coach or you think you need advice, seek that out.
Yeah.
Now, one size fits all for diet does not apply. We're all different. Our bodies digest food differently. For me, we know that white rice, for me, works. For some females that are bodybuilders, it doesn't. They stay away from white rice. So you have to find what works for your genetic type, the disposition that goes along with what your digestive system likes. There are so many factors that are to be considered with that.
Would you recommend a personal trainer, a diet coach, a nutritionist, a naturopath?
Yeah, and I think that's a super awesome question because when I first started, I did a lot of the research myself. I liked to be self-taught. I liked to gather that information and hold it so that if somebody asked me, I knew it. Because I think if somebody's constantly telling you what to do, are you really retaining it? Now, speaking to bodybuilding, when you step on stage, you want somebody that has the experience to guide you there properly. There are some people that, the only way they know they're going to be accountable to show up to the gym is if somebody's there waiting for them, like a trainer. Right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a self-awareness piece. You have to understand what motivates you, why you're doing it, and that's the why behind everything we do as well.
The why is
The why.
The
And
why is
why are you
powerful.
doing it? Are you getting in shape just
Yeah.
for the summer? Then maybe a 10-week, 12-week program with a trainer, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Right? But if you want this to be a long-term solution, I really advocate for educating yourself, you know, doing some of the research, pulling in those pieces from experts when you need to, but also figuring it out on your own and what works.
Yeah, figuring it out on your own and what works. And one of my favorite YouTube personalities is Jordan Peterson, and he says, show me a strong why, I'll show you an easy how. And the path to get there is easy, provided you have conviction.
And I really, I don't do things blindly. When my coach asks me to do something, I'll do the research on the back end to try to figure out why she's implementing that protocol specifically so that I can understand it. I'm that individual that likes to know the why leading up to it. I don't just do it, I will do as I'm told from her because as a bodybuilder, when you just follow the plan, you're a little bit of a better coachable athlete.
Right.
But I really like to understand why.
I love it. Why? Okay. Social media. Has social media had a positive effect or a negative effect on your career and or bodybuilding in general?
I think I haven't utilized social media the best that I could yet. I think it's something that I'm going to continue to do. I would like to do more content sharing. I would like to do more talks about diet and some of the things I do to keep my meals different and interesting and fresh. Because although it is the same thing every day, I use different hot sauces. I use different spices. I use different additives, some of the sugar-free syrups and those kinds of things to keep it interesting. So I would like to share some more of my own content, workouts, that kind of thing. So could I use it for my own advantage a little bit more? Absolutely. And there are some professional bodybuilders that use it very well and have such a strong following. I follow Fouad Abiad, who is a Canadian bodybuilding legend, and his content is great. It's very to the point. It's very direct. I've taken a lot from what he says about bodybuilding and the sport in general from his Instagram. Has it changed the sport? Yes. And I was just watching a podcast the other day regarding that. And that's where, is it watered down a little? Is it individuals who have worked out for 6 months and they've got some abs, so now they look super fit, and they're selling all these products that are, and they're being sponsored by certain athletic wear companies. And to each their own. Again, that's not on me. I know what I would like to use it for. And if and we know what sells,
Right.
sex sells, and I'm not willing to put myself in that box.
Yeah.
That's just not a
you.
sellout that I'm willing to do.
And we see that too much on Instagram.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the fitness industry has a little way to go
Mm-hmm.
in making sure that the content that we're putting out there is real.
Yeah,
So-
that's amazing. A real question for you, and we have like a minute and a half
Sure,
left.
okay.
I can't believe how fast this is going. This is crazy. In a minute, what advice do you have for and you could talk about this for 20 minutes, and I got to get you back
Sure.
on here again.
Yeah,
We
no
got to do the
problem.
2.0 version.
Okay.
What advice do you have for the would-be athlete that's on the couch that can't find the motivation to get to the gym?
Find the path that sets your soul on fire.
Yeah.
Whatever style
Awesome.
lifting that is, whatever style activity that is, whether that's ballet, tap dance, gymnastics, powerlifting, bodybuilding, everything in between. Find something that when you get up in the morning, you think about.
Yeah.
That's it.
I love it. I love it. Wow. That was like 30 seconds of
Perfect.
gold. I hope you guys wrote that down. Absolutely amazing. So Liza McLean, professional bodybuilder, pretty neat. I can't say it enough. In Thunder Bay, one of only 2 ever. I got to see Dorian Yates came to town about, God, if it was 20 years ago, it was
Probably 99, 98,
yeah.
something, yeah.
And he was doing a presentation. He was promoting his supplements.
Yes.
And someone in the audience said, Dorian, can you give us a front double bi? And he laughed and he said, I'm not in shape. You have, and he wouldn't do it. And he didn't give the crowd the
Really?
front double bi.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, he
Okay.
wasn't having it. So it stuck out to me. You have your pro show coming up in 3 or 4 weeks.
Yep.
I would say you're in shape.
Getting there.
Could you leave us with a front double bi? Sure. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Fire away. Here we go. Professional bodybuilder, Liza McLean, front double bi. Thank you so much. That was awesome. Ask an Innovator, best guest ever. See you next week.